This video is on lesson 27 found on page 170 in the grade 8 module 4 book. So in this one we're talking about the nature of solutions of a system of linear equations. Kind of wordy there. The nature of solutions is really talking about the number of solutions. And our number of solutions, there's going to be three types of numbers of linear equation solutions. So let's go ahead. We'll write 1, 2, and 3. We will fill them in as we go through these three exercises. So in exercise 1, it says determine the nature of the solution to each system of the linear equations. And here we have 1. What we want to do is we want to get each equation into y equals mx plus b so that we can compare the slope and the y-intercept. So we see how the bottom equation is already in that form. Negative 3/4 is the m, the slope. 1 is b, the y-intercept. We have to do some work with the first equation though. So we have 3x plus 4y equals 5. We'll do our algebra and we'll rearrange all this, subtracting the term that's being added to y first. Left with 4y equals, and we'll write it as negative 3x plus 5 over here. Now we just have to divide by 4 to get that y alone, remembering we have to do it to the entire side here. And then, since we've done this before, we know that both terms are being divided by 4. We can rewrite it as negative 3/4 x plus 5/4. All right, so let's compare our slopes and our y-intercepts. Our slopes in this one, the m, well, we see one slope. The slope of the second equation is negative 3/4. The slope of the first equation is also negative 3/4. So we notice how equations have same slope. Again, that's what we just pointed out. So they have the same slope. Now what about the y-intercepts? The y-intercept in this one was 1. The y-intercept in this one was 4/5. So they have the same slope, different y-intercepts. So no solutions. Second one down, we're going to kind of do the same approach. We're going to check out the slope, check out the y-intercept of it. We're going to have to do it for both equations here. Let's do it for the top equation first. So we have 7x plus 2y equals negative 4. We have to subtract 7x from both sides first. So we'll have 2y equals negative 7x minus 4. We'll divide both sides by 2. We end up with y equals negative 7 over 2x minus, and then we can actually do 4 divided by 2. That gives us 2. So there we have it in this one. Let's get our other equation into y equals mx plus b. Our other equation, we have x minus y equals 5. We have to subtract x first. So we'll have negative, and I'll do this, it's negative y, but really there's an invisible 1 there. We'll make that visible. I think it'll make the next step easier. And we'll have plus, if I could just write a simple plus sign, 5. There we go. All right, negative 1 will move just like how we move anything else. Divide by negative 1 on both sides. We're going to have y equals, now whenever you divide something by negative 1, it just gives you the opposite version. So negative x divided by negative 1 gives you positive x. Positive 5 divided by negative 1 gives you negative 5. And of course there is an invisible 1 in front of that x there. I'm going to use that to explain this next part. So let's see, in this next part, how many solutions does this system have? So we see, we'll start out the same, equations have, in this case, the slopes. One slope is negative 7 over 2, the other slope is 1. So the equations have different slopes. And what about our y-intercepts? Our y-intercepts are also different. Okay. So when you have different slopes and different y-intercepts, you have one solution. So let's kind of summarize what we have up here. So for our number of solutions, we can either have no solutions when you have the same slope, different y-intercept, you can have one solution when you have different slope and a different y-intercept. But pretty much if you have a different slope, you're going to have one solution because that means they're going to cross somewhere. Now our third option is one that we haven't explicitly talked about yet. Let's get this system into y equals mx plus b. So we have 9x plus 6y equals 3. Subtract 9x from both sides. 6y will equal negative 9x plus 3. Keep going, divide both sides by 6. And we'll get y equals, let's see, negative 9x over 6. That's going to go to negative 3 seconds x plus 3 divided by 6 will give you 1/2. So there's one of our equations. Let's check out the next equation. We have 3x plus 2y equals 1. We'll have to subtract 3x from both sides. We'll have 2y equals negative 3x plus 1. On this side, we'll have to divide by 2. And let's keep going. So we'll have y equals, well, negative 3 over 2x plus, and we have 1 over 2. So to summarize, let's kind of look. We'll say equations have, and checking out the slope first, notice the slope here, negative 3 over 2, negative 3 over 2. So they have the same slope, and they have the same y-intercept. So when when two equations have the same slope and the same y-intercept, we kind of learned this earlier. They're actually the same line because there's the two things that make a line is its slope and its y-intercept. If you have the same of each, you have the same line. So lines are the same. If the lines are the same, that means that they overlap each other. One is on top of the other. That means that every single place you have one line, you have the other line. Therefore, every single point that is on one line is on the other line. So this is what we call infinite solutions, meaning every single point makes both equations true at the same time. So there are an unlimited number of solutions in this. So up at the top here, we'll write down our third type of nature of solutions is infinite solutions. And that comes from having the same slope and the same y-intercept.